grade 8. Here's another lesson on squares, cubes, square and cube roots of fraction. Now it's very important to understand the squares of numbers, like 2 square is 4 and 4 square is 16 and 11 square is 121 and 121, and the cube, 2 cube is 8, 4 cube is 64, 6 cube is 216, and so forth. Now we're going to look at fraction. Let's start with the square of a fraction. If we have a over b, a fraction or to the power 2, this simply means that everything that is inside there, the fraction, it multiply itself twice. So it's going to be that it multiplies itself twice. This simply means that the numerator times the numerator. Okay, let me put it like this. It's going to be a over b times a over b. That this means that the numerator times the numerator, denominator times the denominator, which is going to be a square over b square. But you can just jump from here straight to here, right? Now let's take the number. Let's say we have 2 over 3 cube, like that. So this simply means that, guys, this is going to be 2 to the power 2 and 3 to the power 2. So everything that is inside the bracket, it's cube. So 2 to the power 2, it's 2 times 2, and 3 to the power 2 is 3 times 3, which is 4 over 9. We leave it like that. So number 2, let's say we have now negative 5 over let's say 5 over 4 square. Simply means that even the negative that is inside here, it multiplies itself twice. So it's going to be negative square, and then we're going to have 5 times by 5 to the power 2, and then 4 to the power 2, and then negative times negative, it's going to be positive. You don't have to put the positive. So this simply means that it's negative times sorry guys, it's negative times negative, and it's going to be 5 times 5, and then it's 4 times 4. Negative times negative is what? Positive, and 5 times 5, it's 25, and then 4 times 4 is 16. I hope that makes sense, guys. Let's look at this one. If we have the negative outside, we have 5 over 4 square. So the only thing that we square is the fraction that is inside without the negative. The negative, we keep it inside there. Sorry guys, the negative, we keep it inside there. The negative, we keep it outside there. So it's going to be 5 to the power 2 and 4 to the power 2, which is the negative is still there. It's going to be 5 times 5, and then 4 times 4, and then it's going to be 25 over 16. That's the difference between the two. Okay, now let's look at the cube. Now let's look at the cube. The cube, if we have a fraction and there's a cube outside that fraction, it simply means that this bracket a over b, it multiply itself 3 times, like this. So eventually it's going to be a times a times a, so it's going to be a to the power 3 divide by b to the power 3. If you say b times b times b, right? Now let's look at the numbers. Let's take it numbers now. Let's say we have 2 to the power 2 divided by 5 cube. So this means that it will be 2 cube divided by 5 to the power 3, and then it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, and then 5 times 5 times 5. So this is going to be 8, and then it's going to be 125. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 5. It's 125. Okay, let's look at the following problem again. Now let's take the negative. Now let's take the negative of 3 and let's say there it's 2, right? Cube. So the negative, we cube the negative there. That means everything that is inside there, we cube it. So the negative, we cube it there. So we're going to have 3 to the power 3 divided by 2 to the power 3. And then this is going to be 3 times 3 times 3. Then, alright, I forgot the negative. So negative times negative times negative. So it's going to be negative times negative. It's positive. Positive times negative. It's negative. So it's like that. Okay. The answer is going to be negative. So we're going to have here 3 times 3 times 3, and then 2 times 2 times 2. So the answer here is what? Is negative, right? And then 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, and then this is going to be what? 8. Right. Now we got to the cube. Okay, let's look at this one now. Let's look at this now. Let's say if we have a mixed fraction and then we square. In the mixed fraction we square, the first thing that you're going to do, you need to fix this mixed fraction, right? So we'll say 1 times 4 plus 3 divided by 4 square, and then 1 times 4, 1 times 4 is 4, and plus 3 is 7, 7 over 4 square, and then this is going to be 7 to the power 2 and 4 to the power 2, right? And 7 to the power 2 is what? Is 49. And then this is going to be 16. Hope that makes sense, guys. Let's go to a square root now. We know a square root of 4. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 16 is 4. And so forth and so forth. Square root 36. Square root 36 is 6. Right? Okay. Let's go to the cube roots. The cube root of 1 is 1, and then the cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of 27 is 3, right? And so forth and so forth. Now let's look at when we have number 1. Let's say we have a square root of 25 over 4. So what is happening here? That means everything that is inside the square root, we're going to put the root under it. So we're going to have square root 25 divided by square root 4. And then square root 25 is what? Is 5, and square root 4 is 2. Right? Let's look at this one now. Square root 1 over 9. So that means it's going to be square root 1 over square root 9, which is square root 1 is 1, square root 9 is 3, right? Now let's look at this when we have a mixed fraction. Now let's see when we have a mixed fraction, like 2, 3, 4, right? So it's going to be we first fix the mixed fraction. It's going to be 2 times 4 plus 3 over 4. So this is going to be 2 times it's going to be 8, and 8 plus 3 it's 11, and then 2 times plus 3 it's 11, and over 4. So we're going to have square root 11 divided by square root what? Square root 4, which is the answer. It's going to be square root 11. 11 doesn't have a square root over 2. We leave it like that. Now let's take this one now. When we have an addition of fraction under square root, so what we do there, we fix what is inside the square root first. Denominators are the same here, so we're going to have 2. Take one denominator, is going to be 1 plus 1, which is going to be 2 over 2, which is we're going to have square root. We're going to have 1 divided by 1, it's going to be square root 1, and then is 1. Even if it's a multiplication, even if it's a subtraction. Let's say we have 3 over 2 minus 1 over 2. So this is what is happening. We take one denominator, and then it's going to be 3 minus 2, which is going to be square root 3 minus 2, it's going to be 1 over 2, which is it's going to be square root 1 divided by square root 2, which is the answer. It's going to be 1 over square root 2. I hope that makes sense, guys. And the last example, guys, you need to be careful here. The last examples in the square roots there, let's say we take this one now. It's example 6. Let's say we take this one now. It's 1. It's like this, right? So what we're going to do, we fix this mixed fraction first, and it's going to be 1 times 3 plus 1 divided by 3 plus 4 over 9, and then it's still, the square root is still there, and then it's going to be 4 divided by 3 plus 4 over 9. And then if you're looking here, our denominators are not the same. I will make them the same. How do I make them the same? Since this is 9 and this is 3, I can easily make 3 and 9. So I'll say 4 divided by 3, I times by 3 to make it a 9, and then my LCD there is 9, and then I want to make 9, and then this is going to be 4 times 3, it's 12, and then 3 times 3, it's 9, and plus 4 times 1, it's 4, and 9. Now our denominators are the same, so I'm going to take one denominator. I'm going to have 12 plus 4, which is going to be now 16 over 9, which is it's going to be square root 16 divided by square root 9, which is square root 16, it's 4, and square root 9 is 3, right?